It's true, I only made 4 feature films over a really long period of time. I started when I was 27, and, here I'm 53, I've only made.
At 63, Hollywood legend Jodie Foster has spent more than 5 decades acting, directing, and shaping the film industry. She's won Oscars, Golden Globes, and the respect of filmmakers worldwide.
Very Long Engagement is a 2004 romantic war film directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet and stars Jodie Foster, Audrey Tautou.
But what movies shaped her? What films made her fall in love with storytelling? And which ones still inspire her today? For the first time, Jodie Foster finally opened up about her 10 favorite movies of all time.
A girl he's in love with, and the pimp of an underage prostitute whom he befriends. Directed by Martin Scorsese, the film.
A list filled with masterpieces, classics, and a few surprising personal choices. Let's dive into the countdown. 10. Taxi Driver. Most people know Jodie Foster because of her haunting, unforgettable performance in Taxi Driver. But what many don't know is that the film remains one of her personal favorites. Not because she starred in it, but because it changed her understanding of cinema forever. Foster has often said that working under Martin Scorsese at such a young age taught her what real filmmaking looks like.
He's got to be a Secret Service man. What? I was just curious because I thought maybe I'd make a good one.
Artistry, risk, danger, and emotional honesty. She admired how the film blended gritty realism with psychological depth, creating an atmosphere that still feels uncomfortable and electric today. For Foster, Taxi Driver is more than a movie.
Touch her.
And notice how this shot in specific makes.
It's a permanent chapter in her life and the project that shaped her future as a filmmaker. 9. The Silence of the Lambs. It's hard to imagine a Jodie Foster list without this psychological thriller, and she's acknowledged that herself. The movie didn't just win her an Oscar, it became one of the defining crime films of all time. Foster has said she admires Silence of the Lambs because of how grounded it is. Despite its dark subject matter, she praises the film's realism, its quiet intensity, and the way it explores human psychology without relying on cheap horror tricks. She's also spoken often about the collaborative magic between her and Anthony Hopkins, explaining how his stillness and precision elevated every moment they shared on screen. For her, the film represents what happens when every person involved is working at the peak of their craft. 8. To Kill a Mockingbird. Growing up, To Kill a Mockingbird was one of the movies that inspired Jodie Foster's fascination with moral storytelling. She has praised it for years, calling it one of the great emotional engines of American cinema.
I'll call your wife. Tell her what flight you're on.
The film's exploration of justice, innocence, and empathy resonated deeply with her, especially as a child actor navigating complex adult stories. Foster has said that the character of Scout influenced her early performances, teaching her that children in film can be more than background. They can carry immense emotional weight. 7. The Godfather for Jodie Foster. The Godfather Part 2 represents the pinnacle of American filmmaking. A movie she describes as operatic, intimate, devastating, and brilliant in every frame. What captivates her most is the film's dual narrative, which she believes is one of the boldest and most effective storytelling structures ever put on screen. She's endlessly fascinated by how the movie contrasts the hopeful, quietly determined rise of young Vito Corleone.
Ruined one of Walt International's most valuable proteges. For 5 years, we had her under training, singing lessons.
Played masterfully by Robert De Niro, with the chilling moral collapse of Michael Corleone, portrayed with icy precision by Al Pacino. Foster has said the film feels like watching the birth and death of a family's soul simultaneously, and she admires how director Francis Ford Coppola maintains perfect control over tone, pacing, and emotional weight. The film never rushes, never panders. It simply unfolds with a confidence that only true masterpieces possess. She loves how every choice, from the lighting to the silences between characters, carries emotional and symbolic purpose. In her view, The Godfather Part 2 isn't just a sequel, it's a Shakespearean tragedy about power, guilt, and the irreversible cost of ambition. and she considers it one of the rare films that grows richer every time she revisits it. 6. Eight and a Half. Foster has long praised European classics, and Eight and a Half is one that sits close to her heart. She loves its dreamlike quality, its surreal transitions, and how it captures the anxiety and brilliance of artistic creation. As a director, she admires Fellini's ability to turn personal crisis into visual poetry. She has mentioned how the film explores memory, identity, and imagination in ways Hollywood rarely dares to attempt. For Foster, Eight and a Half is a reminder that cinema can be deeply personal and beautifully strange at the same time. 5. The Wizard of Oz. Foster has described The Wizard of Oz as one of the first films that made her understand the magic of cinema. She admired how it blended fantasy with emotional truth, how it moved from sepia to Technicolor, and how Judy Garland carried the entire story with vulnerability and strength. The movie influenced Foster's understanding of childhood storytelling and taught her that films can feel like dreams brought to life. 4. The 400 Blows. This French New Wave classic is one of Jodie Foster's all-time artistic inspirations. She has said that the film captures childhood with honesty rather than sentimentality. The rawness, the realism, the emotional turbulence, it showed her that film doesn't always need big spectacles to make an impact. Sometimes quiet human truth is enough. Foster has cited Truffaut's films as essential to her development as both an actor and a filmmaker. 3. Memento. Yes, this one surprises many people. Jodie Foster loves Memento because it breaks rules intelligently. She has said that Nolan's structure, telling a story backward, forces viewers to experience confusion just like the main character. And she finds that brilliant. Foster appreciates films that challenge the viewer, films that ask you to think instead of just watch. Memento is exactly that kind of puzzle box storytelling she admires. 2. Psycho. Foster has always admired Alfred Hitchcock and often cites Psycho as one of his most influential films, not just for the genre, but for her personally as a filmmaker. She praises the film's tension, the boldness of its narrative twist, and the way Hitchcock constantly keeps the audience off balance. Foster has said she studied Psycho closely while learning to direct, analyzing how Hitchcock uses composition, sound, and pacing to build suspense. To her, the film remains groundbreaking and endlessly inspiring. 1. Citizen Kane. At the very top of Jodie Foster's list is the film widely considered the greatest ever made, Citizen Kane. Foster has said that every time she revisits the film, she finds something new, whether it's the lighting, the structure, the themes, or the innovative use of camera movement. For her, Citizen Kane represents the height of cinematic ambition. A movie made by a young visionary that still feels fresh over 80 years later. It is, in her words, a reminder of what movies are capable of. And there you have it. Jodie Foster's 10 favorite movies, a list that reveals not just her taste, but the films that shaped her as an actress, a filmmaker, and a lifelong student of cinema. From psychological thrillers to Hollywood classics, from groundbreaking masterpieces to childhood favorites, each film on this list had a real influence on her career and her artistic identity. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Jodie Foster's cinematic inspirations, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and tell us in the comments which movie from her list is your favorite, or which actor's list you want next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.